It's been a long weekend for Papa Z. Boss. Boss.
No, never, never, ever again.
What?
Don't.
No, Papa Z. I say that to my wife all the time. I call myself Vitamin Z too.
Vitamin Z.
Vitamin Z. It's my rap name. It's Vitamin
God.
Z. I'm like, hey, give some sugar to Vitamin Z, and then she's like, you can't live here anymore. And I was like, come on, get you some Vitamin Z, baby. And she's like, no,
Vitamin Z.
no, spare bedroom. All right. We ready to wrap this thing up?
So are we not doing odds and ends then?
To odds and ends. Odds and ends is
You said wrap this thing up like we're going to plugs.
All the fucking times that you have failed to say the right shit or failed to fucking do it, you're fucking gonna give me this shit now?
Well, yeah, because you're the shining beacon. You're the one who guides us through the shit show. You can't fuck up.
You pick
because I don't know what to
beacon,
do,
man. There's something wrong with the beacon, man. I am not the right beacon.
Anytime I have to do a Kayla and me show, it's all a fucking clown job shit show of me just saying words.
All right, Neil, shut up so I can start the odds and ends. Start.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible gaming podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, have chosen for whatever reason to listen to another horrible gaming podcast. But I am not alone. Mostly I'm never alone. With me is...
Neil, a.k.a. a tiny wizard.
On the face stuff, I always point the wrong way. Like, whenever I say, like, with me is, I always, like, go to point at you, and then I just point at the wrong... Like, I point at the wrong
mirror.
way. Yeah,
because
I point at the little Seamus toy behind me is what I end up pointing at.
I always try to I've tried to point at things on the shelf back here before, and I always screw it up.
It's like, where is it? Where is it?
And I have to do that slow, awkward shift.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're back with that live show. I saw that a lot of you tuned in to the interview show. I appreciate that. That is one of our most viewed podcasts so far. So thank you very much. I'm sure that bump comes from the people we had on, and I appreciate them taking the time. William Hohen, Bloody Nose, all of you guys, Grandpa Gamer, taking the time to be on the show. And just come chat with me, get to know you guys a little bit more as gamers. But before we get into all of this, I'm getting ahead of myself. We gotta thank the people who helped us make this possible. Above our ugly mugs is a custom graphic. It was designed by Mr. Mark Bell. He does all the custom graphics here at the channel. We thank him for that. Then, of course, the theme song for this show and all of the shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with everybody's favorite fan interaction.
Horrible gaming podcast.
That brings us to our first segment, our most important segment, that is Fan Interaction. That's where we, the co-hosts, talk with you guys, the fans. We read out all your comments that you posted, and as per se usual, we were not live last week. So, I mean, we're never live, but we didn't do an actual show last week. We had a pre-recorded one. So we're going to be reading 2 weeks of Fan Interaction because that's what we do here. We got commitment.
What if for the 200th episode of the podcast, we actually do it live?
That might not be a bad idea. I'm not against that. What are we at now? We're at 178. That's coming up. We could do a live show. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, before the
year.
With
the sad failure that we would be doing it on a Sunday night at 9:30. Who's going to fucking stay up to watch this at 9:30 on Sunday night? I guess we could just do it on Wednesday night. But
that's true.
We'd have to schedule it so it's in prime time. We'd have to both take the time to be there a little bit earlier is the unfortunate
That's
thing.
true, yeah.
We'll work out a schedule. Maybe that'll be it. You guys let us in the comments. Do you want us to do this live? Is that our special 200? Or should we just stop?
Just end it all. Right here and now.
End it all. Just good
like,
try.
Comment, and subscribe.
You guys missed. Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to.
Or don't, I guess. Or don't if you want to end it all. All right, so from 2 weeks ago, going back to our great friend. This show, you made me so mad at this show, and now I got to reread these comments. I completely forgot about it. Here we go. William Holland starts us off. Hi! Exclamation point. Hey Neil, go talk to Amy. So Zach, oh, you're so obnoxious. So Zach, I agree. It's fine to enjoy a game for whatever reasons. Would you say it's fine to not enjoy a game for any reasons? Trying to save you, Neil. I'm going to respond to that right now before I continue. My problem here, Will, is that Neil is not liking it for not real reasons, because every open world does all the things that he is complaining about. If he's complaining about this, he should be complaining about every open world game he's literally ever played. They all have linear quest building. They all make you do shit like this. The only problem Neil has is it's one character per area, whereas GTA has like 4 or 5 different characters per area and rotates them. That's the only fucking difference. That's my problem here, Will, is that Neil's problems aren't real. He woke up one morning and decided to hate this game. That's my problem. I
don't hate it. Like I said, I give it like a 6.5.
6 is hating it.
6
is hate. If you're an IGNer, 6 is hating it.
Say, I don't operate on
6
the
6 is a 1 on 5 right there.
I listened to that video, by the way, the IGN, when they talked about that. We had
such
mentioned
garbage
about that before.
It
garbage. Really was trash. They're like,
trash.
Well, we really only talk about stuff that people like. So we kind of think it's pointless to give anything a 5 or below. But it
then why are you doing ratings?
It's a surprise.
That's my thing. Why are you doing ratings? Because you want to get on Metacritic. That shit is such bullshit. It's such bullshit. I was with them back in the day when they reviewed literally every game that came down the pike. You remember that?
Yeah.
Is that we were still doing we had started doing shows when they used to do that, and just every game got a review. Like almost every game got a review.
Game Informer did that too. I don't know if they still do. I haven't had a Game Informer in years.
Because then you had 1s, you had 2s, you had 3s, you had all sorts of shit. Now they only review the big name AAA things or the indie stuff that gets a lot of hype. And with that being said, you're only giving reviews from 6 to 10, man. What the fuck, man? It's ridiculous.
They'll occasionally throw a 5 in there, but like I can't remember the last time I saw a 4.
They gave a 4 to Wanted Dead. Wanted Dead they gave a 4 to.
Oh, okay.
It was a recent one, but that's the only one that's been recent. Like if you scroll back through, it's all like 6s and 8s. If you go on the app, it's ridiculous. But yeah. Moving on from Neil's complete and total failure to have good taste. The Street Fighter mobile game will most likely feature some gacha mechanics to get new fighters, parentheses, with a star rating from 1 to 5. Isn't that always
100%. 100%.
In your party. Still curious about it, though. And then he says, for my off-topic this week, I've been playing a lot of Scourgebringer. It's a roguelite, but very, very fast-paced. It's hard, but it's been years since I've felt that sense of accomplishment, of getting better at a game. Oh, and the music. It's Doom 2016 level of good. Such a great game, and it's available on pretty much everything, from PC to mobile. Give it a shot. Thanks for the show. Cheers. Parentheses, hashtag go talk to Amy. Then Asylum66 says, ha ha ha, love the Sonic story. Don't play Dark Souls, Neil. They don't tell you anything.
Oh, yeah.
Jason then jumps in. Is the day before the Cowboy Hat game. I'll probably have looked it up before anyone reads this, but whatever. To which he then says, all right. Yes, it is. Okay. I don't remember a cowboy hat, but yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. All their trailers have looked really good, but then everything we hear about it is not good. And that's the thing. But the reason it should be followed is it's, I think, the most wish-listed game on Steam currently. So it's got that weird groundswell. But there's just so much weird, shady stuff going on with it that nobody can, like, confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Jason then finishes by saying, my odds and ends is huge, too. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. All right, so then let's scroll up. Gotta switch that page to the interview show. So last week, we took kind of off. So instead of doing a normal show, what we did was I did some interviews with some of our community members. I like to do this sometimes so that we can take a week off. Basically, I pick community members who have contributed something to us, who do shows with us, who comment a lot, stuff like that. I just interview them about gaming and their experience with gaming. Our first interviewer last, and I was really proud of the last interview show. I think it was one of the best interview shows I've done personally. I urge everybody to go back and check it out. Our first interviewee was William Houen. Hi! Exclamation point. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun to be there. And super happy to know more about the people in our community. Smiley face. Cheers! And no hashtag. That's surprising. Thank you. Thank you, Will.
You should have hashtagged it.
I should have hashtagged it.
Hashtag, no hashtag.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. It'd be good. I didn't do that, though. So, but that would be good. Old Man Gaming, when he sees me pantless. And then he has a timestamp, and that's from Giblet Gaming. Just so everybody knows, who has not checked out Bloody Nose's channel. Bloody Nose does a lot of games with Gibby Gaming, or Gibbet Gaming. And he is a crazy person. He's also been in our Discord, if you have noticed a bunch of weird, crazy Discord things, and thought, hey, that's not Filthy Phil doing it. Who's that? It's him. Hi, Gibbet Gaming. Nice to have you in the community, you crazy SOB. Then Bloody Nose comments and said, oh, this one is fire. Thank you, Bloody Nose. Thank you for being here. I urge everybody to go check out William Houen and Bloody Nose's YouTube channels separately. They both have some interesting stuff. Bloody Nose does really cool Let's Plays and clip shows with both Gibby Gaming and by himself. And then William Houen also does Let's Plays, but they're more like very deep dive independent games that you don't really hear a lot about. Then we had Backdraft. Shots fired. I don't know what the shots were or who they were fired at. But hi, Backdraft. And then Jason. I don't think I answered the favorite game either. I don't think you did, man. I don't think you did, if I recall correctly. I think you were like, nope, not going to do it. And then we just moved on. So that's fan interaction. Did you listen to the show last week there, champ?
I did not, of course.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yep.
Hey, I told you I had a wild week at work.
Hey, man, it's okay. I am used to, after 3 years, feeling constantly alone in all of the pursuits of the channel. That's totally fine. Well,
I kind of listen to it from time to time when Kayla's got in the car.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. I get it. I stand against the waves by myself, babe. I got it. No problem. So, anybody else out there, send your new co-host application to Old Man Gaming. You can find me on the Discord. Your first requirement has to be commit. You will listen to the shows at the very least. All right, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna stop giving Neil some shit. We're gonna talk about the Nintendo Direct, although I think we're a little bit behind the time on that. But we're gonna talk about it because I need some cheering up, and let's face it, I'm going to get a whole lot of cheering up if you guys watch the Nintendo Direct and also watch the prediction show. Still smiling at the camera. Sometimes it's just worth it, guys. Sometimes. All right, we'll be right back with our talking point.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're a little bit behind, so we're going to be talking about a little bit of old news, but bear with us, man. Bear with us. There's been smaller stories.
Talking about.
I think it's worth talking about. So Nintendo had its Direct for February 2023 while we were on our little break. There's a lot of things announced. We're going to go through them, go through our thoughts, go through how we think Nintendo's doing, I think. We did the same thing. We do these with all the shows, really. Mm-hmm. All the big ones, anyway. So, I guess we should talk about the first thing right off the bat, right?
Well, which thing is the first thing? Because I don't think this goes in order on this article.
I'm just going by article. I mean, Zelda, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
We're going by article, guys. We're old and we don't have the memory capacity to remember how it actually aired. So just bear with us. We pulled up an article so we could remind ourselves, because I watched a little bit of it, and I was hollering for one section, but that was for personal selfish reasons.
So I guess we'll start with Zelda here, and
sure.
There's a part of this that wasn't mentioned at all, and it's gonna be $70.
Yeah.
Because literally just because reasons. There's no there's no reason other than because we want to charge more for the game, because it's not like a next gen thing.
I am really surprised you want to talk about this first, because I'm kind of surprised you even want to talk about this. This was going to be my Zach negative rant at the end, honestly.
Well, the reason why I kind of want to talk about it first is because I didn't see this.
You didn't see that?
I didn't see this. I didn't hear this. I didn't know anything about this. And in this article here, it says straight up and down, it's going to be the first Switch game to retail for $69.99.
Yep. I also have another big problem with it. What is the capacity of the Switch, just base model, for storage?
Oh God,
do you remember?
I think it's 32 or 64 gigabyte, one of the two.
This is more than that. This game requires something like 50 gigs or something like that.
Oh my God.
So you are charging us $70, a premium price for a game that cannot play on our system without an SD card. They're just assuming we already have an SD card. I'm pretty sure it's more. If it's not more, it's literally the entirety of the hard drive. I remember looking this up at the time, but it's been 2 weeks. Neil's looking it up.
Yes, he is. Yeah. So the Switch OLED has 64 gigabytes of internal storage.
Okay.
So if you download the digital version of the game, you need a fucking SD card.
You need a fucking SD card. If you need a fucking SD card to have to have the first one and the second one. That's insane. To have both games, you need a fucking SD card. And you're charging us more. That's my problem. Okay, fine. Games go up. We need an SD card. Everybody buying a Switch at the time knew that they were going to need an SD card. Come on. They had a 30 gig, whatever. Or 64 gig on or. But to make a game first party that then requires an extra $10 price tag, you're not giving us any more for it, while also having this huge gigabyte requirement, is just a slap in the face of the consumers. And I'm kind of surprised that there hasn't been at least a little bit more pushback on this from that angle. Everybody's the $70 thing's a little annoying, but Zelda. Okay, but you just take for granted that everybody's already bought an SD card. It's not included hardware. You're requiring somebody to buy extra hardware to play this game that you're now selling at a price above what normal games are priced at.
Well, I think there's going to be this misconception that people even still to this day, like, let's say your average, like, not hardcore casual gamer has, let's say, an Xbox Series S, and they download and install Call of Duty. Well, guess what? Half of your storage space is taken up by one game. A lot of people may not necessarily know that. And I do wish that they would have like a... Because I don't think they have on the Switch boxes. Guess it really doesn't super matter for the Switch box because, you know, it's on the game cartridge anyways.
Right.
But like a lot of the disc-based games all have something on the back that says something about the storage requirements for install and everything. Not even a general idea, you know, because I know, like, even myself, like, some of the games on the Switch have an install that does have to take place even though it's using a card, but that's primarily for your updates. But there's no mention of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that comes back to Nintendo marketing themselves as a toy. And they've done that a long time. It's very frustrating because I've spoke about it. I mean, many years ago, this is an old thing, but I speak on this a lot, is that Nintendo tends to market themselves as a toy. And I'm not talking about, like, the amiibos and the collectibles and the cardboard box to children. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking, like, they treat it like something that you're buying for your children that you don't really care about. Like, that's how they treat it. They don't treat it as like an art form or a sophisticated piece of hardware. So they don't look at it as, oh, there's going to be full-grown adults buying this thing and trying to optimize its performance, even though most of their audience at this point are full-grown adults buying this thing and trying to optimize its performance and then letting their kids play. You know, like, you're a console system, and this is an art form, and Nintendo is just one of those people. Like, they're the reason that games are even looked at as toys in the first place. That's how they got it past a lot of, like, marketing loopholes back when they first did the Nintendo Entertainment System, and that's how they've done things since. And it hurts the industry, it hurts the business, but it also hurts us because we can't just read the box and see the story. We have to look stuff up on, like, media outlets and sources like that. And I really don't like the $70. Like, this is really like, if you want the ice cream, cool, but you have to buy the cone too. And I don't like that. I don't like the way that this is being pitched. I don't like the way it's coming out. I don't like that they've made us wait an extra year and a half for this game to then basically, you know, shove it up our asses. And I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And I'm going to say this right now, I won't be purchasing this game on day one. Not going to be happening. And I was excited for it, but this is a bridge too far for me. I'm not saying everybody should hashtag boycott it or whatever, but, like, $70 and it's going to take up more than half my Switch. And I've got an SD card. I'm not going to put the room in there for that. I'm just not. Like, no, I'm not doing that. It's going to have to wait. And I don't know. Maybe it never comes down. Maybe it does. I don't know. But this is too much. This is too much.
Well, speaking of waiting forever for things and people shoving things up their ass, let's talk about this Metroid Prime remaster. So first things first.
So good.
I need to go and play back the tapes because anything that I was doing with my predictions when I did it the past 2 years, I had predicted it as the entire trilogy.
That's
now,
true. That's true.
I'm looking at it now on my sticky note on my computer.
Okay.
It does have, for your prediction, the Metroid Prime trilogy and Prime 4 are announced. So I'm willing to grant you a half point.
We're going to have to argue that at the end of the year, champ. We'll see.
We'll
see what kind of full points you want then.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see, champ. We'll see.
But getting to the happy parts of things,
I didn't put 4 in there with the trilogy when I was doing the thing. I'll go back and listen to it again. I was going to say,
I want to see exactly how it was said. If it was just,
I didn't put 4 in there, unless 4 was a different prediction. But I didn't put 4 in there with the same Metroid Prime trilogy. I said Metroid Prime trilogy is going to be announced.
I think the line of reasoning for it was that the Prime trilogy is going to be coming out all in one go in the first half of the year to get everybody ready for Prime 4 in the back half of the year.
Okay,
I think
but
that's what
that
it was.
was not the prediction. That was like the reason for the prediction. I'm not going to take a half point because Prime 4 was part of my reasoning.
No, I'm willing to give you the half point because of one single Metroid Prime game in the trilogy has been released. Now, that also said, there's no word on 2 and 3. There's no word on 4. But in typical Nintendo fashion, I think that they realize that they can absolutely make all of the money and all of the land if they don't do a port of the trilogy and just re-release the remasters of each individual game. Because Lord knows, when I was watching the Direct, I was sitting there completely calm. They started the trailer and I already knew what it was. And I rocketed up and immediately grabbed the Switch. I didn't even wait for it to finish. I immediately grabbed the Switch and impulse bought Prime immediately.
Okay. All right. I think we're moving too far too fast. I think we also need to point out that this was really your half point, even if it was a half point to lose, and you lost it to me.
Yeah.
I think we need to rewind a little bit. I don't think I bathed in that too much enough.
No, you didn't. Go ahead.
I mean, I see that you're past that already, but like, how does it make you feel that for the last 2 years you've predicted this, and if you had predicted it one more year went first, it would have happened.
Yeah.
What's going through your head right now?
That's the thing. That's one thing that I had mentioned to you after I had watched the Direct. I have never been more emotionally confused in my entire life.
You did send
because it was, oh my god, this thing that I have waited for literally years for. But at the same time, at what cost do I pay for this thing? Financial cost being $40, by the way, which is
was that my crazy one? That was my crazy one, wasn't it?
That was your crazy one.
Oh, yes. So it's a full point, even if it's a half point.
Even if it's a half, yeah, it's still going to be a full point.
Oh man, I wish you could see my camera right now because I'm doing some dances. All right. But I think Neil's had enough. We can move
Metroid
on.
Prime Remaster has shadow dropped immediately. $50,
right?
$40.
Okay. All right. I want to ask you something before we continue. Don't worry, it's not another rehash of the joke. I want to ask you two things. Number one, and I won't judge you if you say no to this question. I won't judge you at all because I have games like that I would say no to this. But can you stay objective about your opinion on this, given everything that you've experienced, how much you loved these games in the past? Can you stay objective about this remaster?
I think I can, yeah.
Okay, so second question. Worth $40, worth a 10 on IGN. Do you really think that is correct and accurate? And I want you to really think about it objectively.
So objectively, worth $40. While I was frustrated that I had to pay $40 for it, I was thinking I was going to be paying maybe $30 for it. From the complete retooling of some of the controls, and some of a lot of the visuals, even the sound design and everything's been completely upped. It's one step away from being one of those from the ground up rebuilds.
Okay.
So worth $40.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to take your word for that then, because I wasn't setting you up to fight with you. I really, this is not my game. It's not my area. I'm probably not going to play this game. I do think that coming from a Nintendo, from a company that has released 3-game collections for $40 or $50 for the last like 5 years. For them to release one that's $40 that's only one game, kind of, I was like, why can't we have the second 2 in that? I don't understand why this is only one for $40. I think this is kind of shitty. But
now, as for the score of the 10 on IGN,
I did cut you off. I'm sorry.
I would, with my glasses, my nostalgia glasses on, would absolutely agree with it, because I personally have always thought of that game as being a 10. It was one of the very first Metroids I ever played. Metroid Fusion was the first. Metroid Prime was the second. So it always has held a special place for me, and especially comparing the original Prime, which was already held up pretty well, to this remaster, it's good. That all said, for somebody who is completely unaware of the Metroid formula, completely unaware of how the game is supposed to, like how the game was, anything like that, and to somebody who is going to be getting into this sort of thing for the very first time, it's going to be a pretty good first-person shooter, single-player first-person shooter, but I would also say that I would put it more in the camp of an 8.5.
Okay. All right.
Because there are some design things that initially, like, they didn't change the game. They didn't, like, retool difficulties and stuff like that. They updated the graphics, updated the sound design, and put in a new twin-stick control scheme. So the old way of playing is still there, to where you can play it like the controls were before. You can also use motion controls, but they also have a modern shooter twin-stick control option, which is how I'm playing right now, actually.
Which would probably be pretty sweet, I think.
It is. It really is. It completely changes how the game feels. But there's a lot of backtracking. There's a lot of, if you don't know to scan shit, you're never going to progress in this game. If you don't know the backtracking that you have to do in some cases, if you just happen to miss a hallway or happen to miss the wrong small rock blocking the way of something, you're going to be either beating your head off of a wall or going to a wiki walkthrough.
I mean, in fairness, that's always how Metroid is, though. Like, every fucking Metroid is like that.
That's always been Metroid, but the difference is on a 3D one, there's not a whole lot of, like, with a 2D, you're only looking at one single plane. Yeah. You get that mini map up in the corner. You kind of get the same mini map in Prime, but the navigation of that, you have to be able to navigate in a 3-dimensional space, first off. And second, you have to be able to read these symbols and objectively look at, like, how the model of the 3D map is, because sometimes it'll have, like, oh, there's a little weird alcove here. I wonder if there's something important in here because the room is shaped strange.
Right.
You know, it's kind of mandatory. But all told, I am very pleased with it. Absolutely 100% very pleased with it. It's all I've been playing lately.
Well, that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I honestly wanted to go to you on this. I'm not a huge Metroid guy. Never have been. Respect for the games. Nothing but respect for the games. Just not my bag usually. So this isn't one that I'm gonna spend $40 on. But yeah, there was a couple of things that just seemed hinky to me. Mainly it was, if I have any problem with it, it's that you know, we've had so many collections from Nintendo in the last like 2 or 3 years. Why are they all $50 and we get 3 games, and this is $40 and we got 1 game that's roughly the same size? Like, if you really look at like the Super Mario collection that recently came out, the 3D All-Stars, $50 for 3D All-Stars, those games are about as big as Prime. Prime is on the same systems. There's not, like, I mean, Prime is a much more in-depth story. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, you're comparing apples to oranges with the mascot thing. But if you're going just by, like, time and amount of content in there, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? So, like, that was the only thing that, like, really, like, leapt off the screen at me as, like, the fuck is that about? You know.
So the one thing, not to hold up too much on this point.
No, that's fine. I think these are the big two, so we might as well.
Yeah. Well, there's
spend
one
some
other
time on-
thing. There's one other thing, but it kind of ties into this a little bit.
Okay.
What I think the show was good, and I love the stuff that they showed off. That said, they very clearly framed it as stuff that's coming in the first half of the year for the most part. We don't know what's coming in the second half of the year, and Nintendo likes to tease that sort of stuff at least, and they really didn't. So it almost seems like Nintendo really doesn't have anything for this year outside of, we have Zelda, we have this Metroid remaster, which is already out now, and the other thing that was added to the Nintendo Online, two things rather, the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games.
There's Pikmin 4 too, and there's a huge community for Pikmin 4.
there's
Like I know
Pikmin
it's
as
not
well, I
either
guess.
one of our games.
It's not our bag.
But there's a lot of people out there who are very excited for Pikmin 4.
And that's what they actually opened the show with, was Pikmin, which is great. But
I mean, it's not our bag, but we should still at least give a little time to it, just because it is. A lot of people are waiting for that one. That is a big one. I don't know where that's dropping in relation to everything. July 21st. So,
I was gonna say, yeah. So that's the one. That's one that kind of falls outside of the quote unquote first half of the year.
First half, yeah. That's weird. Why they would frame it that way and then do that
and open the show with
right. Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Yeah, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are interesting. I still have a problem with the whole expansion pass. I still think it's overpriced, you know?
Yeah.
And like I can't justify that much money for a collection of 64 games, Genesis games, and Game Boy Advance games. The jump is just so astronomical, especially if I wanted to get it so that my daughter, because we're now considering getting a family plan because my daughter has been playing more and more, and you know, there's some really like crappy stuff. Like she just does not get to get into some of the cooler stuff. Like we got Switch Sports. Not to go on a tangent, we got Switch Sports for her for Christmas. Switch Sports is really cool. It's a really cool game. It's basically the sequel to Wii Sports, and I actually like this way better than I ever liked Wii Sports. It's a lot more fun. But like they have an online component that's really good. Like you go on, there's no chatting, it's just sticker-based communication, and you play against other people, and there's always other people in there. It has a big community, but you earn like clothing options and stuff, which is perfect for her. She can't do that. She can't do it because she doesn't have an online account. Can't even put her in as a guest, and like that kind of stuff's just irritating. So now I've got to think about the family, like so that everybody can be online. So that jumps my price. And then if you're talking about the expansion pass, it just gets so high so fast, you know?
Yeah, so I don't know, like I kind of before I had mentioned before last year I signed up for the expansion pass strictly for the fact that Paper Mario was on the Nintendo 64.
Right.
And honestly, right after I picked that up, I beat Paper Mario and really hadn't played a whole heck of a lot of the Nintendo 64 stuff otherwise.
Right.
Wave Race came out on it. I was big into Wave Race, so I played a bit of Wave Race. F-Zero, love F-Zero, that was on there too. But outside of that, I hadn't messed around with a whole lot of it. And I was kind of thinking, like, you know, is it really like overall, like, yeah, I was hyped there in the moment because of the Nintendo 64, because of Paper Mario, like, oh, there's a whole nother swath of games available now behind this additional, what was it, $20, $30 for the year. But you can only buy it in a year chunk.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know, you know, we'll see.
It's a lot of money
how
at
I
one
feel about
time.
it. Exactly. Yeah. But now with the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance stuff in there too, I don't know. Now I feel like it's actually kind of worth that price. I think that's personal.
Yeah,
I think it's a person. It's definitely a personal thing because, you know, if you think about that and you think about like, let's say somebody who really didn't have a Game Boy, really didn't play Nintendo 64 games, you know, sure, they may be curious about it, give it a shot, but I don't think that they are I don't think that they're like, yeah, absolutely, I need to get this because, I want to play these games.
Yeah.
For that is targeted towards people like yourself, myself, who grew up in that era with that stuff. And it's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing the companies have learned at this point is nostalgia sells immediately.
Oh yeah. There's a reason that the streaming companies all still fight for friends. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's the comfort food. People want that. I'm not going to say I didn't. I'm not going to say I wasn't tempted. There are tons of games because I was a Sega Genesis kid, and then I was a Nintendo 64 kid. Like those were the systems I got first when I was a kid. And they weren't. We both had a Nintendo first, but it was the whole family's. And then we didn't have a Super Nintendo, but I wanted the Genesis and we got it for Christmas. You know what I mean? So I was very into it. And then I was all about the Genesis, all about the Genesis all the time. That was the system. The thing is, and I really had to think about this because I was like, I really want that. But I really started to think about it. And same with 64. I really wanted the Nintendo 64. Got it. Got Star Fox. I have 100%ed Star Fox Nintendo 64. I mean, there's no achievements for it, but I've literally played through every ending, every map, every fight multiple times. I got the secret ending in that game. I've done it all in that game. So I get this expansion pass. I think you see where I'm going with this. So I get this expansion pass. I download that. What is that for me at that point? And it's so for me, it's well, it'd be cool, but my daughter's not old enough to really enjoy it yet the way I did. So showing it to her isn't going to be the enjoyment for me. And playing it, I've played it all. I played all of this game. Do I really want to spend an extra $70 to go through games that I've 100%ed or done already? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with the Genesis, Castlevania, the Genesis one. Is it Bloodlines?
I believe it is Bloodlines, yeah.
Love Castlevania Bloodlines. Me and my brother played that one. He'd always play the Belmont. I played the one with the spear. We loved that game. We beat that game together. That's one of those games that just holds a special place in my heart. Minute I saw that was announced, and I was like, I gotta get this. And then I thought to myself, wait a second. Is me getting this going to give me the same magic of playing this with my brother in our pajamas Saturday morning before anybody had woken up to beat Dracula together? No, it's not. We did that. It's done. And don't get me wrong, I'm not insulting anybody for going back to something for nostalgia. That's not what I'm saying. It'd be totally okay if I did get Star Fox and play through it again. I'm just saying that, for that price tag for reruns, just bugs me a little bit. It just bugs me a little bit. You know what I mean? And I think that, and that's what this is. This is comfort food reruns for me. I mean, the only thing that this thing holds is I've told you the whole... I know I've told everybody in the audience the whole Ocarina of Time story for me. The only thing that this possibly held for me was the percentage that I could go back in and do that game over again. I'm far enough away from what it did to me the first time that I could do it and actually finish the game. Because I've never actually seen the end of it. Because I was so close to the end of it, I didn't watch it when my brother beat it. But I never could beat it because the glitch had already taken place. Yeah. So I've never actually watched the end of it. So that would have been one of those unchecked things that I could check off. But still, sure, there's a couple of games in these collections that would be interesting, but is it worth that price tag? And viewers out there, you're going to have to make that decision for yourself. We can't make that decision for you. I think Neil's 100% right on that. I think it's kind of a personal opinion thing. It's personal. How much does it matter to you to have these at your fingertips? I think it's a little too pricey still. I do like the addition of the Game Boy to the normal side. So that they gave something to the normal side, so that they're not saying that everything's locked behind that huge price tag, which was nice. But I don't know that the Game Boy Advance and that are worth it. That being said, there are a lot more libraries to come that they could add to this thing that might make it worth it, such as Game Boy, not Game Boy Advance, but the Game Boy. There's many different Game Boys coming up that they could easily add stuff to.
They could put color games in there for sure.
The Game Boy Color, they could do Game Boy DS games. They could do.
I guess. Well, DS you could only do in handheld, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of stuff that they could do with that. There's also the GameCube stuff that they could potentially start adding.
In there.
Yeah.
If they put GameCube in there, I tell you straight up and down, I'll pay an extra $20 on top of what I already pay for it.
I'd probably start pushing my chips in too. I'm not gonna lie. So like, I think that for me it needs to go up a little bit. But we've talked about this enough. I do want to talk about this next one, and this is another thing. This is another point. One of the things that kind of like I thought was a little messed up. The Advanced War Collection 1 and 2 reboot is finally coming. So just for everybody out there who isn't familiar, this game was supposed to come last year, way early. But then, a war broke out in the Ukraine. Yeah. Nintendo decided it was not probably a good idea to make a game about war that's very cartoonish. So even though these games had already been made a long time ago and it was just a remaster, they decided to delay it, which... I'm all for sensitivity. I think this was a little stupid. I don't think anybody would have seen Advanced Wars come out and gone, oh yeah, this is definitely the Ukraine. I'm offended by this, but whatever. That being said, hey, you delayed it, it's fine. But they delayed it for a really long time. Now it's not coming out until this March. But here's my thing. Here's my real insensitivity thing. You launch a game that's a remaster for $40, and on the same show, you announce another collection that's 2 full games for basically the same price. Like, maybe wait until a different show for that? I don't know. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I was talking about earlier with the Metroid Prime, where, like... Why are we only getting one Metroid Prime game for $40 when every other collection they release is multiple games?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be one of those. I think it's a calculated decision. In the case of Prime, I think that there's enough demand for those Metroid games that they know that they can sell them standalone. I would love to see what the sales numbers are for the Prime remaster since it's launched, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who, the second they saw that it was there and it's available today, went and downloaded it immediately.
Yeah, they've really whipped them into a frenzy, haven't they? Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing is, I feel like Nintendo also does this thing. Like, they feed off nostalgia, but they also feed off of starvation for content.
Yep.
And we've talked about before how they intentionally make their shit scarce, so that way whenever it is available, then it drives crazy sales. The classic, the mini classic consoles, perfect example. The what's it called, that Mario collection that we were talking about, same situation.
Yep. Yeah. Ooh. Are you yawning?
Ooh, sorry about that.
Are you yawning on camera?
That came out of nowhere. That came out of completely nowhere.
Unacceptable.
That's always been Nintendo's bag.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly what they're doing with Metroid. I feel like they knew that they weren't going to have the demand for the Advance Wars that they had for Metroid, and that's why they did it the way that they did.
Yeah. All right. So the rest of this stuff to me is kind of nothing. And I don't want to glaze over everything. So do you want to like pick out like one or two things to talk about? Because none of these things really like there's some things that are in here that I guess we could talk about, but they don't really matter that much to me.
There are 2 things that I really want to talk about.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
One of them is just like a what the fuck, and that's what I'm going with first. This Disney Illusion Island looks like a goddamn fever dream.
Yeah, it does. That looks really crazy.
God, it looks really so weird.
I will agree with that. I will 100% agree with that. And it looks like, I don't know, like it's got this weird edge to it. It's like the creators of Ren and Stimpy did Disney.
Yes.
It's very strange.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
I don't know how this got green light.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I just don't.
And then, honestly, the other one that I really wanted to mention, that Dead Cells Return to Castlevania.
Looks really
man.
Cool.
It really does. And the thing that sucks is it's not a standalone thing. You have to have Dead Cells to be able to play it. I want so badly.
I think Dead Cells is still on Game Pass, dude.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I mean, just buy the DLC and download it through Game Pass.
That's true.
There, I fixed your problem. Fixed it.
Thanks.
No problem, man. No problem. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for help.
Oh, and I did forget about that Tron Identity, that graphic
That still
novel.
looks interesting. Yeah,
it looks interesting. I think it's a very calculated move, them mentioning it, because details are starting to come out about the third Tron movie now that's actually like getting like some traction.
Yeah.
So I would be very interested to see how that shakes out. It's not going to be like a game. It's more like a graphic novel narrative thing. But I will be interested to see that when it finally comes out.
I am really, really, really also interested to play that Kirby game, the remake or the remaster, the Dreamland, the Return of Dreamland. I've heard it's good, and I like Kirby. I'm a Kirby guy. Don't fault me.
Don't fault me for being a Kirby guy.
Fault me for being a Kirby guy. All right, that's the Nintendo Direct for me anyway. I mean, Professor Layton's coming back. If you guys are all entertained by that, that's great. I don't know shit about Professor Layton, so I'm not going to try and talk about him on this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I have anything against him. I just don't know anything about him, so I'm not going to insult people by trying to, like, talk about him. There's a bunch of stuff like that on this show. So you want to hit fan interaction then, man?
Fan interaction? We're starting over?
I don't need your shit today. I don't need it. I've had enough shit and puke in this house. Don't need it.
God.
Don't need it.
I feel so bad. And I knew something. I thought about messaging you too whenever I saw that you were canceling your stream, because you had used the term violent illness. And I was like, oh God, is he okay?
People out there, if I use the term violent illness, I am vomiting. I don't even think I used that term when I was sick with COVID. I said violent illness because it was violent. I haven't vomited in like 12 fucking years until Thursday. Okay. All right. So, and now if I don't put that fucking opening in, nobody's going to understand what we're talking about.
Nope.
I don't want to put that opening in though. All right. What am I going in? We're going to go to odds and ends, guys. It's been a long weekend.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, we're back. I guess with odds and ends. I think Neil only has 2, but I have 5.
Yeah.
Ooh. So I guess I should start us off, right? If you yawn on fucking camera one more time. Are you fucking kidding me?
Should I hide my face here?
Yeah, to do something, man. Try not to look so tired to be here.
I mean, to be fair, it's as it stands right now, it's 10:47. I normally go to bed at like 10 now on a regular basis.
Look.
I remember when we recorded and we wouldn't be done until like 1:32 in the morning. And it was like, hey, it's fine. We'll
just do it. We'll just record again.
I get the fuck text and just like, it's fine. We'll just jump back on and do it again.
Welcome to
now.
adulthood.
It's like, now it's just like, please kill me.
You were the one who was fine. I was never the one who was fine with the fuck text. You'd be like, it's all right. We could do it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no. 6-year-old, 6 a.m. All right, so let's get into these odds and ends. I guess I'm going first since I've got 5. I'm going to start with the big one, which is Ubisoft made some weird comments about E3. Weird-ass comments about E3. I don't know if you saw these, but when on a shareholder call, Guillermo McFuck was asked if they were going to have a presence at E3, and he said, "We will definitely have a presence at E3 if E3 happens."
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
I'm like, wait a second. E3 is like a month away, bro. What do you mean you don't have, like, shouldn't the checks be in the mail by this point? Like, I'm very confused by these sentences because E3 is, like, right around the corner, you know?
Well, what gets me too is like everything that's gone on. The ESA has like basically made the rounds. I can't remember if it's just like them putting out a statement or like some guy as a figurehead who speaks for them, just like reassuring everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, E3 is happening. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, E3 is happening. I don't know what they're gonna fucking have at E3, and I know they know that they don't know what they're gonna have at E3.
I mean, especially if one of the major companies doesn't even know if it's gonna isn't even sure that E3 is happening, even though E3 is saying E3 is happening. You know,
right?
Like that's weird to me. That's weird when the CEO's like, yeah, if it happens, sure, we'll go. Like, if it happens, it's tomorrow, bro. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So I don't know. That's real weird to me. So now I kind of feel like maybe E3 happening is a lie. I don't know.
I think, you know what I think is going to happen? I think that this is going to be the last one. I think that they're going to say, yeah, E3 is going to be a thing. And they're going to see just the wet fart that it winds up being. And they're like, you know what? See that we no longer have a place for it.
Yeah.
They may take E3 to like condense it or like say like, this is the time. Let's all organize together and like make it all about games. So like it'll be a hybrid sort of primarily digital show.
It's gonna be.
I'm sure Keeley's gonna find a way into it and like, you know, segue it into his summer fuck fest.
His poison inflicts us all. I don't think E3 goes away permanently forever. I think E3 ends up turning into what every one of these fucking summer gaming fan fest shows are. I think the only live show that's left out there is Gamescom, and I don't know how they do it anymore, you know? So like I think that I think it turns into one of these digital circle jerks, basically. Yeah. Should I go with another one? You only got the two, right?
Yeah, go ahead with another one.
All right. So this one's for Jason out there and some of the other people who are waiting for Valheim to come to console. It's coming in March. They have not given a specific date, but they said that is what they are aiming for, March 2023 for the console release of Valheim to Xbox, and it will be Day 1 Game Pass. I mean, it was already Day 1 Game Pass. It was just PC only because it was PC only. But yeah, if you're interested in playing Valheim on the console, it's coming, guys. You got a short wait. Less than 30 days or so. Or around 30 days or so. A little bit over. Whatever. I don't do math. All right, so I guess I've got 3. You've got 2.
I'll go with one of mine right now because the 2 that I have are really pretty short.
Okay.
The first one that I have it's very dated because this happened before Nintendo's Direct.
Okay.
Apparently somebody got the bomb squad called at California State University.
Really?
Nintendo Direct.
Wow.
So a student sent an email out saying that a once-in-a-lifetime event was going to happen and that classes should be canceled that day for the good of humanity. Somebody took that email, which was, of course, I'm sure was intended to be a joke by some shit idiot kid, and said, "Oh my sweet Christ, somebody's going to blow the school up. Classes should be canceled for a once-in-a-lifetime event."
Could you imagine this kid getting like his apartment stormed by SWAT, and he's just like, "I just thought everybody should see Tears from the Kingdom, man. That's it. They're talking about Zelda."
Yeah, I mean,
that's funny.
It was. There's just things you can't say anymore, and like phrasing that you can't use.
Just don't say school should be canceled. Period.
Yeah. Don't say that school should be canceled because something's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Jumping in. This kind of goes on the edge of a lot of the games as service games having problems lately, which continues to be kind of a trend. Multiverses is falling apart.
Yeah.
It is down to only under 1,000 concurrent players. However, this is another one of those that's really weird because, like, we talked about this, and it was kind of like the discussion of whether it's a bubble that's bursting or whether it's, just coincidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like a few of these are shovelware, and they should be shut down. Then you've got, like, one or two that are good games that shouldn't go away and are just didn't get the player base. And then you've got a couple other ones, and then you've got a bunch of others that are going down for completely different reasons that have nothing to do with it. Multiverses has had no content updates whatsoever. They've just kind of gone dark on its development, which makes no fucking sense to me. Like, you started a games as service, you decide, hey, we got a games as service. It takes off. Everybody loves it. And then you just stop making shit for it. What are you doing? Like, you actually hooked people, The thing that Rumbleverse couldn't do. What are you doing? So the big frustration with Multiverses is a lack of outgoing content and a lack of the other stuff. It actually brings me back to... I have been talking to our man on the street, Philbilly 330, and he had made some mention that he kind of felt like a lot of the indie game developers shouldn't even get into it because just the market is too flooded right now. Like, even if you have a good idea, it gets lost. We also talked about something else that I don't love, and it's just, it lights up a thing in your brain. Like, a lot of these games, they kind of prey on people's, like, addiction. Like, not even addiction, but your predilection for addiction. And that's why those people just keep going back to, like, a Fortnite or a Call of Duty or something. They're already hooked. You know what I mean? They're not going to walk away from that drug. It doesn't matter how good your drug is,
Right.
So, I don't know. It's a tricky situation right now. There's a lot of stories on IGN about games as service not having a bubble that's bursting. I don't think games as service is bursting, so to speak. I think, again, people attack it as we'll release a free-to-play and then we'll just get paid from it. Whereas you're not looking at it as you have to take market share away from other games as service. And if everybody's releasing games as service, you know what I mean? Like games as service is about an outstanding concurrent player base. That's what that is. That's how you make money. Whereas single-player narrative games are about units sold. Period. You sell the units, you move them off the shelf. Doesn't matter if anybody ever plays that fucking game. You got their $60. Whereas with games as service, it's not about that. You have to engage people. They have to decide to leave whatever other fucking weird games as service they're in to go to yours, and they have to decide to stay there. And I'm not hating on games as service, guys. I play games as service. I like games as service. But again, to be in a games as service, that's what you have to do. That has to be the model. These developers, like, just put one of those out, we'll make money on microtransactions. To make money on microtransactions, you have to have players,
Yeah, and, I think, too, this situation with Multiverses, as we talked about before, I'm, of course, in the camp of it's a bubble that's bursting. But in the case of Multiverses, I don't know, Warner Brothers has had a lot of shit going on. And I feel like that is a side effect of all the shit that's been going on.
That's true.
I don't think it's anything inherently to do with the game itself. I think it's more so higher up decisions that were made because there's been a whole flurry of them coming through lately with their DCEU stuff, just Warner Media in general, between acquisitions, shutting down, services, channels, shows, stuff like that. I think that they may have shuffled people around in their games divisions,
and possible.
they've just lost in that they've lost the people that they may or may not have had to put the time and effort into multiverses, and then it's just like company doing company decisions.
Critical mistake.
I think it's.
I mean, they had actually had people there. They actually had a player base. It's just critical mistake. I don't think we're looking at a bubble bursting. I think what we're looking at is what we need to look at, which is shovelware finally getting the fuck out of the market so that the actual developers that do this can continue to do this, you know. Mm-hmm. I think that developers out there, you need to stop looking at games as service as a quick payday, because it's not. Yeah, a quick payday is Uncharted 5. That's a quick payday. You need to stop looking at games as service as that. Like, it's just not. I mean, and Uncharted 5 wouldn't be a quick payday, but you know what I mean? Like, that's how you get the big money right then and there. Because nobody can turn Uncharted 5 back in. There's no return policy. There's a return policy on free-to-play games. You don't play them. Like, okay, we can wrap up on that. Do you want to do your last one, or you want me to do another one?
Actually, because it kind of piggybacks off of what we were talking about. So speaking of Warner Brothers and their just dumb decisions, they decided to put Gotham Knights on sale in honor of Bruce Wayne's birthday. What better way to celebrate the birth of Bruce Wayne than to put the game on sale in which he's fucking dead? Chef's kiss right there.
That's pretty fucking stupid.
Idiocy. Absolute 100% idiocy.
That's pretty fucking dumb. Oh, that's good. Division 2, another games as a service, but this is, again, another weird problem they're having, where they released a patch that made the game unupdatable. They can't update the game.
Fuck?
This could be resolved, because this was an early one that I added to my list. I think even before the review show had come out, so this could have been resolved by then. But yeah, this was like a situation where, like, basically Division 2 released a patch, and then from that point on, they couldn't update it. And then they were trying to fix it because it was, like, embedded in the code or whatever. So, yeah. I don't know what's happening with that. I think that's really interesting.
Kind of looking at this here.
Did you find an article about it?
I'm looking real quick.
Well, I'll go on
okay.
Continue.
Yeah, from what it looks like, it was something to do with the system by which they deliver updates.
Yeah.
So it's could potentially be a hardware failure at the server level that they use to send out
information.
Yeah, that they use to send out the updates, but they're still kind of trying to figure it out.
So that's like 2 weeks ongoing then, which is a real bummer. Because again, Division and Division 2 are solid games. Division 1 had some issues with their DLC stuff and a big security breach, and then Ubisoft had announced that Division 2 had underperformed, which surprises me because that game, I don't know with this going on, but that game actually still had a decent player base, even now. But yeah, like, they're solid games. It's a bummer that this kind of shit happens. All right, so my last one then, right? We're done?
Yeah.
I always have to shout this out. It's a quick one. It's an easy one, but I always have to shout these out when they happen. But Dead Island 2 has been moved up. Its announced release date was April 28th. It is now up to April 21st, so an entire week ahead of its original release. This is the second time that I've ever heard of this. Of course, the first time being the true game of the year last year, Sifu, was moved up a week. But yeah, I gotta shout it out when it happens. In the world of delays and delays upon delays, you gotta shout out whenever anybody says, "Oh, we're gonna move it up." I will, of course, have to point out that Dead Island 2 has been delayed for like 13 fucking years.
Many years.
there's that.
Being rewarded for your patience.
You get 7 days back, guys. 7 days back. Nonetheless, yeah. Hey, it got moved up, so it's a little bit of a good news there. And then that's it. That's it for odds and ends. Unless you got anything else to add, man.
No, I don't.
Let's fucking stop talking then and be done. All right.
Yes.
We're going to come back and talk some more and then stop talking and be done.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, do you have anything specific you would like to plug?
Yes. If I remember correctly.
Does he remember the date? We're going to have to see if he remembers the date. Without checking your phone, I can see you. Neil?
I'm actually here. I just stopped moving.
Nice! I really thought you froze. I was about to switch over to Discord. I got to give you points for that one. You got me on that one. You got me. Yeah, now I'm going to come to your house and kill you. No, I'm just kidding.
Is it not this Wednesday?
It is not. You did not get the dates right.
It's not this. It's next Wednesday.
Oh, no, wait. No, it is this Wednesday. You're right.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm pretty sure it's this Wednesday.
Dude, vomit and poop.
This
Wednesday. Yes.
We're doing You Suck at Parking again.
You suck at parking.
We had such a good time with that. We are doing it again.
Yes. Yes, we are. I'm very excited to do that again with both Neil and his lovely wife, Kayla. It will be a fun, stand-up, wonderful time with a lot of swearing and basically me and Neil's wife abusing Neil, which is...
as it is wont to do on the Wednesday stream.
Just so you guys know, you won't be able to see them play. You only ever get to see me play and them scream, which is even more confusing to watch as a stream. I don't know if it's a good stream to watch, but it's fun to listen to. Yes, we are doing that this Wednesday. There's a bunch of other stuff happening. I need to special plug. Monday, we had to, because of sickness, I had to move off the T-Shop playthrough finale from last week to this Monday. So if you're listening to this or watching this, it was this last Monday. Myself, Wizard's Respite, hopefully finished the entire game. Hopefully didn't get postponed again, because then I would look like a real asshole. But yeah, we're finishing up our last T-Shop playthrough. It's some really interesting role-playing, a lot of fun. If you're at all interested in the TTRPG side, we're trying to do a little bit more of that here on the channel. Also, Tuesday morning, instead of my normal stream, we're going to do a special Danny Wharton stream because it's her birthday. So we're going to be streaming State of Decay for her birthday, and she's finally forcing me to play Lethal with her. Lethal mode, which is just the worst. But I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that with her on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Then, of course, normal streams. Amateur Hour, still playing River City Girls 2, greatest brawler ever. Tuesday night, 9:30. Hard Rock Horror will be hopefully back this week. Friday, 11 a.m. And then Phil Billy's been filling in the spots with Road to Ballador's Gate. So check him out when he does that. Of course, we've got tons of things to offer on the channel, ton of Let's Plays. If I can give one more special shout out, it is to the Womanizer's Guide to Axiom. It is a narration and a written thing. We are doing it in concert with Wizard's Respite. WizardsRespite.com to read the story. If you want to listen to the narration, which is done by myself and Mark Bell, you can check that out on our channel here. And honestly, if you want to give Wizard the view and us the view, you can go to the channel. You go to Wizard's Respite, check it out on WizardsRespite.com. And our little YouTube video is right there embedded in it. So you can watch the YouTube video through him and everybody wins. But it's really cool. Myself and Mark Bell played a game about 5 years ago we finished it about 5 years ago, but we played it for about 2 years straight. And it was just this huge campaign. This huge character's story arc that is really cool and a lot of fun. I hope you guys check it out. We're very happy to actually get to put it out there for people to see because we were very proud of it at the time. And that's it, everybody. everybody, that's it. We'll be back next week. You guys can contact us on Facebook at OmegaGamingDH, on Twitter at OmegaGaming9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. Influences and all of our shows. Please check out William Hooin and Bloody Nose's YouTube channel. They helped us out last week. Got to give them shout outs this week. And then other than that, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time. It's completely reset all of the settings. That's why I wasn't recording.
Jesus.
I thought it was canceling out my mic again like before, but no, it had reset every setting that it had ever had on the audio department. So I had to reset up the headset, I had to reset up the microphone, all things. Get the pop filter back in a fucking place. I have had a fucking weekend.
Oh yeah.
Thursday, Phil brings kids over. I had the poops that morning. I was feeling a little out of it, but it's just the poops, and I'm 41 and old, so I get the poops sometimes.
It happens.
Yeah. So he's over here. He even asked, he's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just feeling a little bit off." Okay. He leaves. I'm feeding Lila. 20 minutes later, I have to get up, place Lila down in the playpen as fast as humanly possible, run to the bathroom, and vomit. Everywhere.
God.
And shit myself. So I'm vomiting and poop's coming out of my ass. There's 2 toddler children in the other room, now crying because they think I'm literally dying in the other room. I vomit a bunch, poop myself a bunch. I'm like, great, this is awesome. I immediately realize can't do this day. Gotta call Phil back. That's awesome. Gotta tell my employer he's got to turn back around from going to work and come get his kids, because whatever I have, they're not going to want them to have.
Yeah.
So I hit the number. I call him. As he's picking up, I feel the vomit coming. More vomit coming.
Oh, no.
So this is what happens. He picks up. "Hey, what's up? Everything okay?" "Phil, you got to come pick him up. I'm vomiting." Oh! I hit the hang up button. I don't hit the hang up button. I think I hit the hang up button. Drop the phone on the floor, proceed to vomit and poop myself more on a bathroom floor, in the basement. His kids are outside the room, in the room, crying. I can't get to them. So basically it's like he's just listening to me vomiting. Then every so often me going, "It's okay. It's okay. I'll be out as soon as I can. You're fine. It's all right." So this goes on for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And then I just hear this ethereal voice, because I didn't hang up on him, just say, "All right, I'm turning around."
Oh, no.
That's when I realized he's still on the line. Basically, all of Thursday, I just puked and shit myself. And what was even worse is, for some reason, the puking made me dehydrate so fast that I just had cramps everywhere. I've never had this problem before, but like really tight. The like leg cramps you get in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Really tight, brutal cramps all over my body. So like I couldn't sleep. It was terrible. It was actually absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. So all Thursday goes by. Friday, I'm tired. I'm sick. But I'm finally out of it. I quarantine myself in the spare bedroom, so I don't even sleep in the comfy bed. I'm in the spare bedroom that usually gives me cramps anyway, just so that my kid and my wife don't get sick. Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why, even though you didn't ask. You should have known that was rhetorical. Because
I said, huh?
Because
Sorry, I'm scratching my
Saturday, she was going over to her aunt's for the first ever 2-day-in-a-row sleepover.
Oh.
So me and the wife were going to get a full weekend. And I'm going to say right now, 6 years of fatherhood, of parenthood, I can count on one hand the amount of times before today, actually even including today, that we've taken a night off. So this was huge. Huge. We had lots of plans. Lots of romantic plans. Stella and Melissa start vomiting and shitting themselves on Friday.
No.
Yeah, I'm not even better yet. So I'm like, okay, plug up the butt because you got to stand against the waves. So now So now we're watching Stella like a hawk, because Stella is way more concerned about not being able to go to her sleepover than vomiting, which is a whole nother conversation. I'm holding her hair while puke's coming out of her, trying to calm her down, trying to just get her to focus on the problem at hand, which is things are coming out of the wrong end. She's more worried about a sleepover that's reschedulable. She somehow bounces back and is fine by Saturday morning. So she gets to go. Me and the wife, well, I'm better mostly by Saturday. Melissa isn't. She sleeps all day Saturday. Today we barely got out of bed. So yeah, romantic 48 hours of sick aftermath, basically.